Ever stumble upon something that just like completely changes how you see someone,
Hmm.
especially family?
Mm-hmm.
We're diving into Grampa.txt, a document that reveals some pretty unbelievable claims about my grandpa.
Okay.
This document details his, well, unusual assertion that he was a body double for President Nixon.
Interesting.
Yeah. So our deep dive today, it's all about unpacking these claims and really trying to understand, my interactions with Grandpa as a kid. And ultimately, what was he really trying to tell me?
Right.
So Grandpa, he was really quite the character, always the jokester, always had a story.
Okay.
He'd often make these jokes, like, oh, I was a G-man for the SS,
Oh, wow.
leading people to think, oh, Secret Service, right?
Right, right.
But then he'd chuckle and be like, garbage man for the sanitary service.
I see, I see. So playing with that kind of, serious image.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, it makes you wonder, was this playful humor a way of, I don't know, maybe dealing with a more serious past?
It's interesting, right? Because that kind of humor, it can be a deflection tactic almost. Like he's trying to downplay something, maybe even hint at something he can't fully reveal.
Right. And speaking of things not fully revealed, that's where this Nixon thing comes in.
Okay.
He drops this bombshell that he was a body double for Nixon,
Wow.
even going as far as, get this, riding in decoy limousines.
Decoys. You're kidding.
I know, right? Makes you wonder, like, why go through the effort of creating such a detailed story?
Exactly. Was it a tall tale, pure and simple, or could there be some kernel of truth, something he experienced that he's embellishing?
So strange to think about.
Yeah.
And it all kind of ties into this one specific memory, this trip to the Capitol,
Okay.
which Grandpa always insisted I remember. But the thing is, all I could recall was thinking the Capitol building was actually in British Columbia.
Interesting.
I mean, I was just a kid. You know how those memories are.
Of course, yeah. But it's fascinating that he fixated on this trip, on you remembering it. And that little detail about British Columbia, that's curious.
Right.
It makes you think about the nature of memory itself, especially in childhood. Was he, in a way, introducing you to the concept of misinformation, even within a family setting?
Wow. I never thought about it that way.
It's just a thought, but it adds another layer to his character, his intentions.
It really does. And then it gets even more strange. There's this other detail from the Capitol visit that always stuck with me. I apparently met a man there who told me not to tell my mother about him.
Mm.
It's like, why all the secrecy? Was Grandpa mixed up in something risky?
Mm.
And why expose me to it, even indirectly?
Right, because that's not a normal thing to tell a child, to keep a secret from their parent. It definitely points to a deliberate attempt to conceal information, potentially something involving high-ranking officials, given the location.
That's unsettling to think about.
Yeah, it definitely raises more questions than answers.
And it makes his final message to me on that trip even more perplexing.
What was that?
He said, and I quote, "Now it's very important for you to know who you are, where you were, and how old you are now."
Wow, that's pretty heavy stuff, especially for a kid.
I know, and it's just stuck with me ever since.
It's like he was imparting this life lesson,
Yeah.
about the importance of memory, of holding onto your own identity, especially when faced with deceptions or hidden truths.
Yeah.
And coming right after that encounter with the mysterious man, it makes you think those two things are connected somehow.
So you have Secret Service jokes, claims of being a presidential decoy, this mysterious man at the Capitol, and then that final message about remembering. It's a lot to unpack.
It really is. It's like this blend of history, memory, and maybe even some fabrication. It makes you question how much of Grampa.txt is based in reality and how much is, well, a story he crafted.
Right.
And if it is a fabrication, what was the purpose? Was he trying to protect someone himself? Or maybe he was trying to tell you something without actually telling you. It's definitely something to consider as you continue to explore these memories.